All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Saturday, March 22nd. This is the Ben and Guac show. We have our special guest, just like we've been telling you. Mr. Lee's in the building.
What's up?
Today we're gonna be discussing a couple things. So we're gonna give everybody a chance, as usual. Lock in, please. Saturday, March 22nd. Today's topic is men's mental health awareness. We want to touch bases on this.
Yeah, definitely. This is something that's serious that's going on in the community out there, man. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of men out there struggling. They're scared to say what they're going through.
They say here in statistics, they say approximately 1 in 5 men will experience a mental health disorder in their lifetime. How do you guys feel about that?
See, the thing about men is what we go through is we're meant to be tough. We're meant not to talk about our emotions. We're spoke that if we cry, we're soft. We talk about we gotta hide to make ourselves look tough, and that's the main thing. That's all suicide through men and alone. We're just scared to talk. We're scared that, you know what I mean? Like, we're scared to be judged because we're the ones that's supposed to be helping everybody out when we need a lot of help ourselves.
Yeah, that's one thing that is not discussed in society today is men going through mental health. Society do portray men as this, they are okay, they can handle it. But in reality, we don't discuss about it further. We don't dive in deeper into that topic. It's very uncomfortable for men to talk about their mental health. We feel some men might feel attacked. Some might be open about it, but it's not a topic that's discussed.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. We're here reading on the statistics as well. It says 6 million men annually suffer through depression. That's a pretty high number right there.
Yeah.
6 million men suffer from depression, and it's pretty scary to come think about it because let's be honest. Out of how many men that you know, do you think that you see 6 million men that are actually showing it? That's pretty scary,
Yeah, it's very scary. One thing that I noticed with me, I don't like to discuss about what I'm going through mentally. So one time that I did seen a live video of my friend here did talked about peace, and it gave me an open mind because he broke it down of it's okay to keep it behind you. You don't have to react to it, and I want you to open up more about that. If you could explain it further, please.
Sure. So basically, with what I did is the number one thing. Like, I was an alcoholic. I'm 6 years sober from that. I'm also clean from meth and coke as well, 13 years. So the thing about me was how I used to hide my struggles with real substance. So the thing that would happen with me where I got better is if you see on my shirt, it said God did. And I really turned my hands and my faith over to Jesus Christ a lot. A lot of people are scared to talk about that. A lot of people are scared to admit their faith. But if you look at it, we're taught to put it in God's hands. And when you put it in God's hands, a lot of pressure is lifted off of. As men, we worry about struggling with things we can't control. And we waste our time and our precious moments with our family, our friends. I'm guilty of that too, man. I'll be sitting here thinking about, man, how am I going to come up with this when I have a beautiful girl and I have four beautiful kids. She has 3 beautiful kids on her own too. And sometimes I'll be wasting my time worrying about things I shouldn't really be wasting my time on. So what I said in my live was, stop stressing about things you can't control. Like, you see somebody on social media said, oh, the world's about to blow up in 3.5 seconds. You just wasted 5 seconds not worrying about talking to family, worrying about what others said online. Like, you're focusing on that, and that's what we do a lot is, I'm still learning, man. Like, when we walk with God and we change our life over to God, like, I'm still a baby at this, man. Like, I'm only going on a year and a half, 2 years really focusing on my faith, and I'm learning a lot. So I try to share with other men, just like I told Brandon, just like I told you, like, if you guys ever need, just pick up a phone call and call. What's wrong with society is we have men that will use that as ammunition against you, and we're scared to use that too. We'll be scared to be judged. We'll be scared to talk about, like, oh, yo, this dude's tough. And then when he speaks, doesn't mean our hands can't still work.
Yeah.
So then we end up getting into a situation where we got to defend our pride. But, like, for example, I worked with kids in the past. I worked with your son, and stuff like that.
That's right.
I teach people, and I say, a bigger man walks away than throw a fist. Because the thing is I see you smiling.
Yeah, it is.
Because what happens is I explain to the kids that I work with, and I explain with the adults and people in recovery that I work with, is you got to sit back and realize these people and these things are doing out of reaction. What happens if you don't give them the reaction? The thing goes dull. They stop messing with you. Like, I remember just when I start getting into that, people in the community that were calling me out on social media trying to get me to react. And I had a powerful spiritual advisor. His name is Hancho Williams. I mentioned him. And I really wanted to react to it. Because I was like, how dare you come at me?
Yeah.
I said, yo, go silent. And when I went silent, he goes, they dry bones is rattling. Means they're scared now because they're running because you're not responding to what they're doing and the foolishness that they're playing. My girlfriend's Caribbean, so I say foolishness a lot. That's
I like that.
But that's what we need to realize as men. We don't have to be tough all the time. We don't have to be, we don't have to be angry all the time. We don't. And that's the thing is, living in peace, if you would have seen me before, I used to love the fight. I used to love to be angry. I used to love the whole grudges. Matthew 19 talks about live without a revengeful heart. And like if you did something to me, I don't have to like you anymore. I don't have to hang out with you, but I got to forgive you and wish you well.
Right.
Because the story in Matthew 19 is, if I'm correct, was there was a man that was suffering from owing debt to a king. And what happened was this king, I don't know if you heard this story, forgave this man of his debt that would take a lifetime.
Right.
But then what happened was that man that was forgiven became a king, and there was somebody that owed him an estimate of, let's say, $60. So that king turned around and tried to put that dude in jail and did the total opposite of the blessing that he received.
Yeah.
God don't like that too much.
No.
So when I was living angrily all the time, when I was really mad, when I was ready to fight all the time, when I had to prove because I'm a big dude, the most successful thing that I had with bouncing, and I did security in this area, was, it wasn't me. I only had to get physical in a 20-year career maybe 7 times. Not much at all. But when I did get physical, I made a point. But the thing was, I was always good at using my words, and that's the gift that God gave me, was my words. Because what's the thing that, okay, let's say if I'm coming up and I'm calling him dumb, you're dumb. Brandon, this idea is stupid, Brandon, stop doing this. And you go, Dah! And you respond to it.
Yeah, you get a reaction.
Right. You're proving me right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
The biggest weapon in world and with men's, and even let's go with women's too, man, the biggest weapon that you can use against your troll is silence.
That's powerful. That's pretty strong. I mean, I did just hear something recently too. Like, I'm pretty sure it was you that told me sometimes it's just better off to not say anything at all. That just sets the bar a lot higher. You feel me? You don't need a reaction for everything. And I feel like most of the time, you're right, walking away from situations within itself and not allowing someone to get that out of you will just let them know how much more mature of a person you are. You know, how much more you are willing to let it die out. You know, right. And it doesn't need to be provoked. I feel like a lot of men most times feel like they have too much pride. They have something to prove. And that in itself could cause the trouble. That could cause a lot more stress on us. It could cause a lot more issues for those that are around us, you know. So I definitely do agree. Staying silent, it's going to get you farther because you don't need a reaction for everything. It actually saves you energy. It saves you, how we say, saliva, air.
Right.
You know, you don't always need to say something back. That in itself can be more powerful than you actually having to argue with someone or actually have to fight with somebody. I actually had had to go through something and had to realize that remaining humble and not saying much and trading, I call it trading energy, actually saved me a whole life of trouble. You know, I didn't have to feel like if I was being brought out of something, you know, like, you know, a lot of times you have that inner voice, that inner person that wants to speak out, just, you know, and I realized I didn't have to, you know. That reminded me in itself, like, you know what, just remain humble, stay quiet. And I allowed that person to continue to keep speaking, you know, and it died out eventually.
Do you know what the biggest way to, and this is one of my biggest secrets, I'm not really a fighter, dude. I'm not really not anymore. You know, I'm peaceful. But what scares people the most is silence. That's a fact. When you can, I had this young man, and the funniest thing was, you know, I sit here, right, with elementary students, and I work, you know, with middle school students, and I teach them how to control their anger. And the one thing I did use, I want to use it when I was in the elementary school, I used flashcards. You know, I drew a smiley face and I drew a frown face on it. And I told one kid, I was like, yo, if I say you're dumb, show me what face you use. And he gave me the frown face. I said, no, switch it over to the smiley face, bro. Always have a smiley face. Always stay in the game. Never let them take them out. I said, half the jokes these kids are using against you are weak anyway. I said, if you sit back and you listen to what these jokes these people are using against you, like, you know, this isn't really, you know, what helped me out was I was one of the only white kids in the Spanish and black community. So if I could make a group of Spanish and black men laugh, I was funny. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, definitely.
So like I grew up with that kind of tough mentality. You know, like, I had people, for some odd reason, they love to mess with me. They do. And I don't let it get past a certain level, because I'm out here, you know, if you see my inbox, man, has he reached out to me a few times, you know, told me he'd like me to come on. I keep my inbox private. And that's one thing that's very important with me. If you know, I had a few people that reached out to me today that were in my neighborhood that were talking to me about what's going on in their lives, and they're just like, they reach out to me because I keep everything silent. I don't like... Yeah, I like to talk nonsense from time to time, and I talk with my boys like real close friends, but when people reach out to me on personal, like real personal matters, like stuff that they going through, that's between me and that person, because, you know, I was at a point in my life where I had real loose lips, bro. Like, if you would tell me something, I'd be like, yo, did you hear what happened to Brandon, bro? That's crazy, yo. But it caught up to me one time, because what broke me was I did that to somebody I was really cool with, and the look on their face, bro, was filled with emptiness when they found out, you know, me and this person, like, I could get emotional about it. Me and this person, like, we moved on and we forgave each other and we're cool now, but the emptiness on that person's face just killed me, bro. And a lot of times as men, we don't look at the emptiness. Like, you could look me dead in your face and tell me you're fine, but I can read in your eyes that you're not. That's to get that guy.
Right, that's more powerful.
Like for example, if I'm with my girl and she's quiet and she's looking, and I know her eyes aren't here, I know what's going on. I know she's struggling with something, like, and, you know, I have an issue where, you know, I'm not very open and with, because I'm taught to be a man, right? I'm taught to take care of problems, and when I go through stuff, sometimes I don't share with my lady what I'm going through until after the fact is healed. What's not wrong either. You should trust that person that you can talk to heal you. Yeah. But that's the same matter of what's coming on today is men's mental health. If we were all able to trust each other and build off each other and work with each other and just love each other, and there's nothing wrong with telling, some men think it's gay to tell another man you love him. No, it's not.
Nah, I tell my guys all the time, you know?
Yeah, and I think society, you're absolutely right. Yeah, society is teaching men that not to open up, and it's the culture, and because it's like men is competing masculinity. In reality, we should come together and share thoughts, share ideas to advance in this culture of masculinity. And that was another question that I was going to bring up to you. How can we move on or that what is the option to better our mental health? And you mentioned how you have a conversation with your woman.
Yeah.
She uplifts you.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of men out there are single. So it's hard to find other ways to deal with mental health. And so you got your woman. Is there any other option like you would?
What helped me, and I'm gonna be honest, the days I was single, when I was going through a divorce, I was ending a 2-year relationship before I met my lady. Like, I was going through a heavy, dark time, and it was like, I just sat there one day and something just came to me. I was like, this whole time of my life, I was told about Jesus. I was talked about Jesus Christ. I was taught to lean on him. And at that time, he would tell me, and I get why people think it's crazy and they criticize our religion because we're believing in something that's not seen. But if you see the stuff that I personally seen, and what I've been through, there's times and stuff, I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have got a second chance. There was times that, the reason why it happened, I knew it was because of Jesus Christ and God and pushing through. But men and women that don't believe in that, I would just tell you this.
Yeah, there's no faith.
Yeah, the men, and that's why I'm going this direction, because, us, Christians that believe in God, we have our go-to, and that's what I was going to say. If you don't have a lady, you can always turn to God, man, and actually, you have to really put it in your heart and trust him to see the difference and see the glow and see the shine, because that's what happened to me. But men that don't believe in that, it's okay, that's your choice, but what I tell them is, you have to believe in yourself. Like, you have to believe that tomorrow when you wake up, there's always going to be another 24 hours. Like, you have to walk out, you have to look. My thing is, I used to trick my mind. If my mind told me to stay in bed, I would get up. If my mind, I almost said, Mom, no, Mom, I'm not saying you. If my mind was...
Shout out Mom Lee.
Right, Martha, love you. But the thing is, you have to do the opposite of what your mind's telling you to do. Like, today, I'm going to be honest, I was mad tired. I was like, I don't know if I could do the show. I was like, nah, I'm going to get up, I'm going to do the show because that's what I said I was going to do.
Right.
You just have to trick your mind, because a lot of times, if faith or not, the demons, the energy of the world, they always attack us. They always set up traps. They always set up situations that have, once you feel a certain way, the enemy doesn't like a powerful individual. So we got to come out of there like Leonidas from 300. Like, talking about like But
that's a good logic.
Yeah, definitely. I like that.
That's what you got to do, man. Because listen, bro, like, the easiest way to turn is, the easiest, and it sounds horrible, but the easy way is suicide, because you're taking yourself out of the equation, right?
Yeah, speaking of that.
What happened?
That was gonna be our next. No, but you're right. The easiest way out of that is suicide. That's 70% globally. For this man rate. That's
men are more likely to commit suicide than a woman.
You know what my thing is with that is, I try to, like, 2 or 3 times, by the grace of God, that I'm here, but. I did a video that I want to redo. That's why I'm reaching out to you about. I'm going to do a suicide prevention video. It's very powerful, what I got to say. But what you got to sit back and you got to look. If you ever feel this way, and this is for any men out there doing it, you ever feel it, you ever going through it, look at, scan the room. Look at your mom, look at your girl, look at your kids, look at everybody. Don't look at the people that are pushing this level. Look at them and be like, yo, how are they going to be after I'm gone? Cleaning up the mess that I created that I'm not here to fix. And once you see that, like, I did a video, like, and I won't go into detail why I can't release it, but it has to be redone. But I did a video where I showed a woman crying on the casket. Like, they loan your casket, your enemy's smiling because they putting flowers on it, but your kids, your mom are putting tears on your casket, not flowers. You know what I'm saying?
Tough.
Like, they need you here, bro. Like, and they need you standing, and they need you 10 toes down. The only way you should go out of this world is natural causes, or when God's ready to take you.
Right.
And
yeah, that's absolutely right.
It's trust me, bro. Like, everybody that knows my story, knows where I came from, knew my addiction, know my struggles, know my push. They know I could have took that way out easily, and I tried.
We're glad that God got you.
God said, nah, bro, you gonna come back. And let me tell you, that process of going through what I went through, and that was mad uncomfortable, bro. That wasn't a good feeling. So it was like I had to be stuck in the room, on the phone with my kids. I couldn't tell my kids why. And they're saying, Dad, when you come home, and I told him I couldn't tell him why. I just hit my daughter, and then, I got some guy in there that he talking about his life story. I was in my own birth for 72 hours. And it's tough, but by the grace of God, I had somebody in my life that told me, yo, go willingly and commit yourself and get help that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put that on your record. Don't get 302. Just go. And that's another thing I want to tell men out there, that in the world, whatever you do, if you're feeling that way, do not get 302. That ruins a lot for you. Go in, just willingly volunteer yourself. Get the help you need. If you need help that way, hey, there's nothing wrong with it. But don't go in there and get yourself 302. Don't at that moment, don't think that your way is the right way, because I'm telling you, people that actually truly care about you, there's some kids in there that you're going to mess up for life. There's some parents that'll mess up for life. You might call somebody else to take that life because they miserable because they felt they couldn't save you.
No, that's absolutely right. It's crazy to think that the statistics on that is the suicide rate among 70%. Men in the United States is nearly 4 times higher than that of women. And that's scary, man. It's come to think about that. I know we've spoke about this in the past. I know females have their own type of depression, which I said it was postpartum depression, which I'm pretty sure later on in another episode we'll be discussing that as well. But to think that 4 times more than that of women, and you come to think about, women go through a lot, so you can only imagine if it's 4 times more than that, how much can be on a man's mental and reality. I have seen a lot of men, I've seen them bury themselves in problems and not speak one lick of it, not say nothing. So I can only imagine how much is in that mental. A lot of people don't realize how strong your mind is as well, because you don't need a weapon to hurt somebody. It's just a couple words and they can hurt themselves in that sense. So you come to think about how strong it could be. It doesn't take much but saying the wrong things to someone and they can hurt themselves. That's the most powerful weapon in the earth. That's stronger than a sword. That's stronger than a firearm. That's stronger than everything. You understand? That's just you being able to tell somebody something. So a lot of times I don't think we sit back to think about how much damage the tongue actually really does.
Yes.
The tongue is a powerful thing, man.
The tongue is a powerful thing. That's why we have to offer a hand. If we see someone's going through it, especially if you have a friend, a brother, a father, or even a son, get involved. Don't let it them by themselves, go through it by themselves. And one thing, like going back to peace and staying quiet, it's okay. A lot of people might say that, oh, you're walking away from it. It's okay to walk away from certain situation that is very difficult and you don't know how to handle it. If you're not spiritually yoked, it's okay to walk away or stay quiet. They might think that, that's wrong, that you're shutting down. That's someone's idea, shutting down. That's their idea. That's what they're thinking. But in reality, staying quiet and walking away, it's okay. Especially like the suicide rate is very high in men. Men go through a lot, and we will make rational decisions if we're going through that. And that's one thing that we want everyone to know, that seek help, seek God. Prayer is very powerful. I remember I was going through the same situation. I lost everything. I lost my family. I fell in addiction, and Guac knows. Guac, he's seen it all, and I didn't have anything. And the grace of God, he gave it back to me 10 times more. And the reason why is because I went to him. I laid everything onto his hands, my worries, my situation. I was confused. I left it onto his hand. The mental health that I was going through, it was very bad. Men go through situations where when they're into depression or anxiety, or they feel anxious, they fall short to alcohol abuse, drug abuse, and that leads more down the road into destruction in your life, and you don't want to go down that road. And we pray that every man that's watching this take notes, take in consideration, or even if you didn't take notes, speak
Find a
with
peace.
God.
Yeah, find a peace in mind. More important
speak
than anything
with God.
else.
You know what I mean? That worked for us, and we are happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, definitely, I'm happy. Like I said, it's crazy to think that the mind can be so strong and do so much to you. Don't ever let it affect you in that sense. Like, give me a second there. Sorry, guys. Yeah, apologies. It's crazy to think how much the mind can actually do. In a sense where don't ever let it play with you. There's a lot of times where we go through things and we bottle up, and you just let your mind do the running, and you don't really think. Whereas if you were to sit there and vent it out, it doesn't even matter sometimes of who you vent it to, as long as it's somebody you love. You feel me? Not just a random person, but it has to be somebody you love that would be listening, not judging. A lot of people will take things to listen to respond. You have to not be able to put yourself in those positions as well too. I know it's not easy because you're making mental decisions, but venting is definitely a way of depressurizing yourself. You feel me? You'll be able to let out what you have inside. And sometimes it is okay to let things inside because like I said, not everybody has that trust within. But for the most part, it's about being spoken. You have to be able to have somebody there that will be able to. And if you don't, just always remember, you do have God. He's always with you.
Right.
He might not be answering your every question. They always say, God squeezes, he don't choke you. So you'll definitely get your answer, man. You just got to be patient with yourself. And we always say here, walk by faith, not by sight. So you shouldn't just sit here and think that just because you're seeing something, it's exactly what's going to happen. You have to have faith. Things will unfold for you, but you have to believe. That's the most important part here. It's crazy to see that these statistics are so high. I came to sit down today to see all of this and think, wow, like I can read down a couple of these down the line real fast for you, so you guys could get just like a little bit of it. 14.1 million adult men in the United States have serious psychological conditions. Depression, 6 million men annually. Anxiety disorders, 14.3% of men. Substance and disorders, higher rates in men than women. Suicide, men are 4 times more unalive than women. These are real statistics. If you don't know, you can go and Google this and you'll see for yourself. This is very important, especially when we're talking about what is coming to now. It's more higher now than it's ever been. It's higher now than it's ever been. To think that we're raising young men, and this is real. Life hurts. Life is real.
The thing too is when you bring up young men and young boys in the community, what they're also talked about is I see a lot of the struggling with the youth I've worked in the past, right? As adults, the biggest no-no that we do is we show them that their problems really don't matter. Like they ain't got nothing to. What are they upset about? What are they going through? They ain't got nothing. Their problems are nothing. Like I sat down with a few young men, since I'm at the middle school level, and I sat down with a few young men and just hearing what they're going through, bro. Like if you really say you love kids and like working with kids, if you really say you want to help the community out, and you really say you want to be there for these kids, you gotta listen to them, bro. Because you could actually save a kid's life just by advice and talking to them and speaking to them and understanding them and guiding them. Because let's just face it, man, those adults that criticize our youth for having problems, saying their problems aren't big, forget they were youth at one point.
Yeah.
And they forget, and what's going on is I call all men right now to step up to the table and grab these young men and work with them, man, because we're the ones that fought for this. Because we're the ones that we're wrapped up in our problems. We're not worried about what our kids are going through, and we push them out there in the world, man. See, I'm a dad with daughters, bro, so I got a different ball game. But
Right.
you know, when they open up to me and they speak to me, like, I understand it. I don't look at them like, yo, you 12, like, you ain't got no problems.
Yeah.
Listen. When I tell you this, them kids is really going through it, bro. Like, and they're tired and they shut down and they get angry, and we're starting at a young age with the youth where we tell them that their problems ain't nothing, and what they got to worry about. Yo, before I even get up, there's some kids that go through 15 things before I reach my one, bro. They might hear their mom getting abused. There might be sexual abuse in the family. There might be they're walking out in the street. They see gangbangers and thugs out there pushing them, and this is all before they get to school, bro.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
So this is what I mean when we work with the youth. We got to put all this in the heart. When these kids are flipping out, like when I have kids that yell at me, when the youth yell at me, I don't take it personal, you guys, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You have to adjust the mic sometimes.
I know, man. I sometimes
If you want, you can bring the mic more and out.
Am I coming through clear?
No, you're good.
You're clear.
Good. Yeah, you're good.
Just sometimes like moving in and out.
All right. But like I said, man, is that we really look at this stuff that's going on in this community and around the area and what's going on, just not in Allentown, but everywhere. Like, we're teaching these kids, man, that we take it angry. We take it as men trying to guide future men. We take it personally when they take the anger out on us when we shouldn't, because they anger that they're directing towards us aren't towards us. It's towards what they're going through. If you truly listen and you truly understand what these young men are going through, is they're not mad at you. They're mad at their situation.
Yeah,
so you
at home or their living conditions and everything like that.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I can't say it. I'm a father. I got one son, and I am guilty as well as of that. So it's not it's hard, guys. You know, it's not easy, but these are definitely tips, and these are definitely this is people that love you. You know. Mr. Lee is someone that loves you dearly. If he's up here speaking to you, you know, I'm up here with him, and I feel like he's reaching out to me. You understand? I am not myself not perfect. I have a son, and he does go through a hard time as well. And there's times
I know your son very well. Yeah.
Thank you. And he loves you as well very much. And we go through things, you know, like I myself. We were talking a little bit earlier, and I go through things where I feel sometimes where I mentally am not there all the time, you know, so I can't always put myself to be there for my child, and it hurts, you know, because I need to hear things like this as well. This is the point of this, to not push your children away, to not think that it's okay sometimes to even speak with your child, you know, even let him know, listen, Daddy's not fully there right now, he's not fully okay. You know,
like with that situation too, that like what you're going through, like you reached out to me and you talked to me. Just because you're not right where you need to be at doesn't mean you're not a bad father. The fact that you can come out and you reach out to another man, what we should do with community of men is, if there's a young man out there, I could cry right now, I'm sorry, I get emotional about this stuff, but like, for example, if my boy coming up to me and saying, yo bro, I can't deal with my son, I don't know what do you got? I'll be like, yo bro, let me help, let me see what we can do, because these are men and our young men that are becoming in our community, and if they see all us working to help them, it works out. Right. And see, I just don't speak about this stuff, I live this stuff. Right. And the biggest pet peeve that I have is I started out this way, so I'm guilty of it. As I was showing with Brandon, for example, I used to go to Facebook a lot and brag about what I do, and that doesn't make me look official. So what I would do is I'll go, oh my God, I was on the phone with Brandon today. He was real sad, and I was here to talk him through it. That shit's whack, bro. Sorry, let me keep PG. That's whack. Sorry. But what I learned is we need to start doing stuff, not for credit, but for realization. Like, we need to do this to help each other out. Like, in my opinion, when I help people and I reach out and I talk to them privately, like I say, any of my inboxes is off limits for anybody. Like, if you reach out to me, your information is off limits to everybody. That's just between me and you, nobody else. And it's when I do my work and I do what I'm meant to do. I let people share the stories that I did with them. I don't tell them, oh, yo, can you go online and can you tell me what you did for me? Nah, bro, I don't do that. Yeah. And in due time, it shows, like, you know, I seen your son through, like, I think, like, second grade on up, bro.
Yeah, deep.
And the fact it was funny, like, I was teaching your son how to, this is a fun little story. So I was coaching football, and I'm telling him, you know, Jose, don't be angry, this and that. So I'm on the football field. All right, so what y'all need to do is tackle people. In the middle of the thing, he goes, but you told me not to tackle nobody, Miss Lee. But I was like, Jose, it's okay now. It's okay. It's a sport.
Little bit up. No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I got to get used to, like, like moving the mic over here.
No, it's
over here.
That's all right.
If you want, you can untangle.
Yeah, but even that by my
headphone.
neck, I'll stop playing. I got ADD sometimes, bro. So. But
yeah,
we there. We
ain't scripted.
But
everything's coming organically.
But the best thing that I want to share with men right now that are going through it, and it's okay, and this might be weird advice, it's okay to make fun of yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because the men that are going through trolls, like, for example, I used to go out with my homies and stuff, like, damn, you look mad handsome, that's a nice blouse, bro. Like, I be joking around, like joking with dudes, and one dude was like, yo, I'm gonna say you gay. I'm like, whatever. Like,
yeah.
But the thing is, the reason why I use that example, because my sense of humor beforehand was like rated R, bro. Anybody that knows me, my humor is twisted, but because I've been in the district, I toned that down to like dad sense of humor now.
Yeah.
But the best revenge is when somebody's making fun of you and trying to hurt you and trying to bring down on you. Like, yo, the one time, people make fun of my grammar on social media. They were trying to hurt me, and they're trying to. So I came out with a thing. I had some DJ friends. I had a friend who made T-shirts. I came out with a shirt called DJ Spell Check. And I was just like, I would make jokes all day. And when you make jokes on yourself and laugh, yo, you can't be stopped, bro, because I'm telling you, the power of God is crazy.
Yeah.
Because people, like I'll never put my information out on my first marriage because that's between us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And we have a pretty good relationship with the co-parent and everything. You know, any issues I've ever had with my girl or whatever, that's between me and us. And what a lot of men need to stop doing, and I'm going to tell you this, stop putting your relationship information
out
online.
Yeah, platforms.
Women too.
Yeah. That's a big thing about Facebook. They love to put your personal business on live. I don't care about it. I mean, all I care about is someone's well-being that is close to me. Now, if you continuously, every day, basically that's bragging about a negative impact and that's involved in your life, you're not getting bony points for that.
I mean, it's huge. Yeah. That's huge. I recently just seen something. Method Man and his female have been together. Method Man, it's. Remember when you turned that down over there, a dial over there? There was something you turned down. Yeah, there you go. Method Man and his wife have been together. I don't want to chop it up like that. I think he said 22 years, 21 years, if I'm correct. And they asked him on the podcast, they asked him, what is the secret to that? And he said, when they ask me about it, I don't speak on it. And I mean, that could be the realest thing that you've ever heard, because to tell you the truth is, not your business doesn't have to be out there, man. It has to be privately. You know, you definitely don't want to give everybody the insight on what goes on behind closed doors. You know, I feel like that's just for you and your wife. That's how you make things go on. That's how you make it last forever. You know, I don't want to get too carried away on the subject.
You know what else people don't realize when they put that foolishness on Facebook? And let me tell you, I'm king. Put my business out there. I talk about what I'm struggling with. Why? Because it's part of my mission. You know, to be honest and tell men it's okay. But when it has anything to do with my relationship or home problems or anything, you know, that's all social media ASAP. Because the thing is that you don't realize you going on saying, oh, this man ain't nothing, oh, this baby mom's the worst mom ever. You know what you're doing? They forget you affecting your kids, bro.
Yeah.
Like your kids now, they got to walk around with community, and then people see that, oh, yo, check out that their parents' beef is crazy, and they're going back and forth with that. Like, can you imagine? Like, you when take it back to about your son's age or your kid's age, and you posting your drama on Facebook. Next thing you know, the school, they're in school, and next thing you know, they'll be like, "Yo, I didn't know your mom and dad was going through it like that." That's going to trigger them even more,
Facts.
bro.
That's going to have them going crazy right there. They're going to lose their mind.
Yeah, I noticed that kids are more active on social media, and they are aware of what's going on. That's like a different world. And when you put your business out there, and specifically something that's negative impact towards the community or towards yourself, you have to be aware of your surroundings, just as you're aware of surroundings. Physically, where you at home, you have to be careful what you say in front of your children.
Yeah,
it's the same way on social media. And I think that's how bullies are born, because they don't have empathy for others. They think everything is a joke on social media. They don't take it serious, but in reality, they could bring that into reality, and it could affect those who are going through a bad situation, such as men a lot, and they won't take it lightly, and they might put them in a bad situation. Men do go through mood swings. They think it's a woman trait. No, it's men and a woman trait. Mood swing is something that you go through mentally, and that was one thing that I wanted to bring up too. Men do go through postpartum. So if you have a child, postpartum can last for many, many years. Typically for men, postpartum will start after the year of having a child, because how difficult for men have to provide, has to be the provider of the house, has to be the lead of the house. That's why it's good to know the word of God, because God is the head of the man, and the man is the head of the table. He's the one who provides the lead, and you have to be aware of these things when you come in a relationship too. And relationship, when you notice that your significant other is going through something, it is not for you to blast them, because you're in a uncomfortable situation with that significant other and you're not happy. You have to engage in communication with each other. That's the first go-to. If the man or your significant other cannot go to you, they're gonna find someone else, and that can lead to a bad situation.
And the thing that I want to touch base, this might be a little controversial. I'm going to throw a little bit out there, but what we're going to get at is a lot of men, especially in Christianity, think they demand that they're the head of the table ASAP, but a lot of men don't know you have to earn that.
You have to earn that. Yep.
You have to earn that where your wife or your girlfriend or your person has to come to you and actually put that trust in you. What a lot of men mistaken nowadays is they think because it says, and that's why I was going to touch on it, they say that the man has to be the household. Heck, there's some times I look and the woman's the head of the household because they holding it down more than the man.
That's a
they
fact.
got more keys in it.
But what I'm saying is that's what we're raised to believe. But at the same time, like, you have to earn that. Like, there's some men out there that I would tell you this. Like, I'll look at them like,
how? Yeah.
Like,
how you expecting that, my guy? Like,
but like, for example, like. Something that I'm going to touch on, I won't matter, but the person that I'm going to talk about will say is that I have to heal myself first before I grow. And this person knows what I'm talking about.
That's deep.
And I heard this today. And the thing is, when somebody says, I have to heal myself first before I help somebody else. And let me tell you, that person got a lot of respect for me when he said that today.
Man. Thank you.
I had to give you that shout out.
Thank you.
Because for a man to admit himself to be healed first. The biggest thing I'm going to tell you with mental health and addiction and what got me to the point that I became Coach Lee, I became the person I became, is I admit I'm wrong. When you go through addiction, and you go through that stuff, we blame everybody else except the hands that actually pick up the products. So if you see on my hands, I have my daughter's names on my hands because every time I pick something up, I got to look at their names to realize I really be doing this. So the thing is, a lot of people, we need to realize it wasn't your friend, it wasn't your ex-wife, it wasn't the guy down the street. Fault for your addiction is your own fault. Because instead of trusting and believing in yourself, you trusted those products to get you through it.
Dang.
So now we sitting here and say, yo, I drink this. This is, I'm just sharing for what I had. You asked me what I had to do. This is what I had to do. Instead of me going, oh, it was my ex-wife. It was my friend that turned it back to me. It was a job that fired me because it was never my fault. Like, you have to be like, yo, wait a minute, my guy. Did your ex-wife, did your ex-girlfriend, at the matter, ex-boyfriend, whatever, this is female and male, you know, did they tell you force that can in your hand? Did they force that needle in your arm? Did they force that stuff up your nose? No, you're the one that said, you know what?
I'm gonna pick
this is gonna get me through this.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's your fault. And that's the thing that me talking as an ex-addict, I'm not so, how can I say it? I say this, yes, I'm not an addict more because I'm healed, because I put my trust in God, but I do respect my past. Jelly Roll has a thing called a song. Any minute out there, you gotta listen to Jelly Roll. Jelly Roll's crazy, but he has a song called "On Pretty," and it basically says, you know, I hate my scars, what I was, but I respect them because they made me what I became. So that Jelly Roll actually had a deep, as a man in recovery, like, he said this, and this is the craziest line I've ever heard. He said he was down in a church basement turning his life over to recovery. He said, nobody ever comes in here on a winning streak. Right. You know what I'm saying? So you're sitting here, you're at your lowest, and you struggling like crazy. And this is the one thing I'm out there that I'm going to tell people that are dealing with addicts. When they're in there, and they're at their lowest, and they tell you you're going to change, never hit them with, yeah, right. Don't do that.
No,
that's
Give them
tough,
a chance.
Man.
Because I failed 6 times before I got sober. And it took strangers, it took people around me, it took friends, it took men that I'm cool with. Again, topics, mental health. So then where it is men's health, it takes other men to help you heal too. And that's what people need to realize, is you need to stop blaming others for your fault. You need to have accountability. Men, we need to be there to hold our friends accountable, not just judge them and tear them down, pick them up and hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, when I had to give that shout out, like, most men were like, what is he trying to say with that? But when I read that, I was like, that's deep. You got to heal first, and you got to recorrect yourself first.
Yeah.
Before you can help anybody else. And
that's
makes
a
perfect
fact.
sense.
That is a fact.
That's a fact, man. You gotta be able to acknowledge that you won't be able to help nobody else if you can't help yourself, man. You would just be misleading them. You feel me? You have to place yourself in a spot of peace. You feel me? Where you yourself can give motivational energy and positivity and dedication to another man to lead him as well into the right direction, or even if it wasn't another man, you feel me, it could be your kid, it could be anybody else. Just, you have to be able to do it yourself first, for yourself first, to be able to do it for someone else.
But the thing is too, Jose, is we got to look at this, is when you're guiding and mentoring somebody, you got to step back and let that student become the teacher too, because every man, there's a few men in my life that I hold close to my heart that guided me, and when I sat back and they were healing me and everything they were doing, they were guiding me through everything and talking to me through everything. But when they turned around, just like I told you, Brandon, the other day, when they turn around and they're struggling, they got to be able to listen to you. Right. Because their example of what they're teaching you is now guiding through you, and now you're their light to heal. And people don't realize that. Like, I've had some of the dopest advice. I'm 42 from a 24-year-old. Hey, Lee, come here. Let me tell you something. I'm first like, what? And he's like, I'm like, but that makes sense. But you come to me and you're 24 and you're trying to tell a 42-year-old to do something. I'm like, But what changed my life was I started listening to younger people. And sometimes them younger people go through stuff that I haven't gone through, but now I'm starting to go through, and maybe they can get me out of that situation by just listening to them.
That's tough. That's definitely tough, man.
I can relate to that. You have to be open-minded to people who wanted to put you on. They notice you in a tough situation that you're struggling when it comes to, like, reading, writing, any type of equation or even problem solving of life, like point of life. You have to listen, be mindful for other person putting you onto a situation. They might have a lack of
experience
explaining it as well. But if you have a more open minded, you will understand it with all your heart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm younger than Guac.
I was just thinking, and you're taking it right from me.
And there's situations where I had to put him on, and he had an open minded and evolve from that. And I learned from him too.
Yeah, I learned a lot from Ben, right?
So that's very, very important.
Yeah, definitely.
This all has to tie in with mental health with men. Is we have to learn that and the key thing is we have to learn how to respect each other. We have to learn how to pick each other up. Let's stop going out there clowning each other, trying to make each other look soft. Listen, I'll tell you what, man. If you don't see it, here's the biggest thing that I see in this community, right? So I see a whole bunch of men clowning each other, right? So people act while kids act a certain way. Look at the posts y'all be doing. Look at the elders. See, the difference from my generation to what I'm standing now is my OGs and everything that I grew up. I wasn't no gangster or nothing, but I hung out with friends like that. And, I grew up and this is another thing where people don't understand. I grew up in a white house, 2 parents that stayed together. My dad was a draftsman. My mom was a teacher. I was a firm Christian believing, and everybody goes, how can you have problems? Well, look who became an addict. Look who went out to the street. It had nothing to do with my parenting. It had to do with some of the little bit of the guidance of the friends I had at the moment. And I ended up in a life that I didn't want by the grace of God, that he kept me safe, kept me away from everything, and shine my light. But like I said, I'm never going to let them scars in my past change who I am as a person now. It made me stronger. And that's why I can sit back and I can look at these young men and go, yo, that's not cool, bro. I can promise you this is not what you want to be doing, because I tell a lot of kids, I'm very, as you know from working with your son, education is first with me. Hands-on education is first with me, because right now when I'm facing, yes, I have a very good job, man, and I have an amazing job. I love what I do, but I could be so much far advanced, and so many people, where I work at, in the building I work at, always say to me, Lee, you could be doing a lot more. And I'm like, yeah, I should have put my mind to college. So nothing drives me more crazy than when I see a student wasting the opportunity with their education, because I tell them, I said, listen, yes, my job is amazing, but I could be doing a lot more if I would have put my mind to it, and focused. And nothing to my parents' upbringing either, man, because I had a good life. My mom was good. Me and my dad had beef, but it is what it is. But my mom raised a strong man, and that's the thing why I'm a little more compassionate when it comes to women issues, is because I was raised by women. I was raised, and I have 4 daughters, actually 5. I apologize. I have an amazing stepdaughter as well, and when we sit here and we go through this nonsense, we allow it, and that's where mental health comes in, man. It all comes with our bringing.
That's right.
But when we follow the same transition and we follow the same issues that our parents did to us, like for example, my dad suffered heavily from mental health. He was on medication. He was going crazy. There's a lot of stuff I won't share because God rest his soul, rest in peace. But that's his story to share, but he's not here no more, so I'm not going to share his story for him. Right. But he put me through a lot as a child. But, one thing I'm going to share is he made my sports life very difficult. He would threaten coaches if I wasn't playing. He would just make such of a nuisance. Now, me as a parent, I fall back if my kid's playing a sport until they say, hey, Dad, can you speak? You know what I mean? And especially being a coach, I see that with a lot of situations where parents don't know what they're doing to their kids. Like my dad, man, he ruined a lot of opportunities for me. But
it's tough.
Trust me, man. So don't always look at, and this is the other thing I'm going to put at, don't always look at somebody's life just because you think they might have it easier, that they didn't have problems. Because this is what's wrong with society, right? They will point and judge. They'll put happy, lucky, go pictures on social media. They'll laugh and have a good time, but at home, dad's a complete pain in the butt. He out here hitting mom. He's doing this. He's doing that. Cheating. The kids are feared for their life to walk through the door. But on social media, they got matching PJ pajama photos, looking like their world is the best.
Right.
But this is the matching PJ photos, and the number one that I talk about, because when you know people's stuff, and I don't like to do that gossip, but when you know this people's life, bro, like they portraying a life. So when these kids, what's also hurting them, they go, yo, I'm really going through at home. Well, wait a minute, I seen a picture of you and your family. You guys have a great.
Yeah, y'all look like y'all was just fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the number one problem with society, man. But if you really want to make a difference in a youth's life, look past the age difference. Look into that kid's eyes and realize you were him at that age. You were her at that age. What happened to you, and what did those people do to help you? And remember, you were that age at one point.
Yeah.
I hate when people go, these young men and women, they don't listen anymore. Man, you didn't listen either. I remember you in school getting in trouble all the time.
Right.
What are you talking about? Just because you're older doesn't mean you're better than these kids, bro. Like, and that's how I look at it, bro. Like, and that's why I'm very protective, you know, over the kids I work with, and I build a bonding relationship with them, because, you know, I want them to do well, and I want them to see that the highest capability. I'm not a teacher, but you know, what I do is, you know, I can be considered a mentor, like when I talk to these kids, because I don't want them to go down a different path, because there's a lot of talented individuals in our community, student wise, man, that's crazy. Like they just need the right direction.
Yeah, I'm gonna close with this.
I agree with that.
We are placed in situations where we can grow, we can learn and grow from it. You know, God will place us in a situation because He knows that it would be an asset for others to learn from it. Such as your case, you know, you come from a household where all the situations you have been through you wasn't exposed to that. But God placed you in a situation where you had to go through that journey where you can prevent that or educate others. Like, look at what I've been through, you know. So I want to close with this, saying that your journey during the storm there's an ending to it, but is a must to go through it, because that's gonna make you transition to a better person, and also help others who are going through the same situation. And remember, when God take you from that situation, it's not to forget about your past. It's to keep it there, that you're aware what you've been through, what you learned from it, and to use that for others, for educational purpose.
One more thing. Don't pray for God to take the storms away from you. Pray for God to make you stronger to handle the storms, and I'm not with that.
To ease it.
That's fire. I ain't gonna lie.
I think it's in Genesis where he discussed talking to Joshua, bringing the Israelites across the Lake of Jordan. When he decreased the water from the Lake of Jordan, he told Joshua to tell the
peace be calm. For the water to.
And he told the Israelites to pick the stones.
Or peace be still.
To take the stones with you. So, because they was heading to the city of Jericho. So when they took the stones with them, the water increased in levels. Right. So those stones are your past. Is a reminder of what God took you from. You remember? So don't forget about your past. Don't think the past is bad. God placed you in those situations where you could learn from it, grow from it, and provide educational to those who are going through the same situation, especially for young men out there and fathers. We have to learn that our past of fathers being present, or, you know, dealing with multiple men in your life, it is all a learning experience, and is all for the greater good for you. God wouldn't forget you. Right. He never forsake you.
And always, just remember, man, today what we spoke about was men's mental awareness. And if you ever see a man out there struggling, it doesn't take much to actually reach out to that guy, you know, and be there, you feel me? Because in this road, it's tough. And like Mr. Lee said, what's expected of us it's not always what is right, you understand? And it's not okay to bottle yourself in and not help each other, because as as a force, we're better when we are together. You feel me?
Right.
We have to be there for each other so we could be there for our future, which are these young kings that are coming up now. You understand? So always do remember, if you do see somebody out there, and a male, just don't assume that that man is okay. You feel me? You try to reach out to that guy, talk to him, be his vent, be his outlet. You feel me? As guys, try to stick together as well. You feel me? We have a lot to look forward in this future. Mental awareness is in June, in case you don't know. So definitely keep an eye out for that too. We want to thank Mr. Lee for hopping up here today and expressing his heart and giving us his knowledge. You know, I appreciate everything. Definitely don't think that this is the end of anything. This is just the beginning of beautiful starts.
Yeah, that's the beginning. So do you want to tell others where they can find you, just in case if you want? And what is what them to expect for you to bring to others in the community?
All right. So what I like to do is, you can reach me on Lee D. Henninger. You'll see a picture of me on that page. You'll see a picture of me and my lovely girlfriend. That's my page. When you reach out to me, everything is 110% confidentiality. You know, and I'm gonna tell you this. Sometimes my schedule is crazy, so don't take it personal if I don't reach out to you right away or respond. But I'll definitely get to you. But anything we can do to try to help the youth, anything we can do to try to help these men, anybody in recovery, remember, anytime somebody trying to commit suicide, anything to that, remember, tomorrow's a new day. 24 hours straight, change your life. One simple word, one simple thing. I know this is tacky, but you're one smile away from a perfect day, my guy.
That's perfect.
Hit it up. Let's go.
That's perfect. This is the Ben and Guac show. I'm Guac.
I'm Ben.
This is Mr. Lee. We want to thank y'all for staying tuned and locking in with us today.
We are on, we didn't plug in yet, but we on YouTube, we on Instagram, we on Facebook, we on Twitch, and we on X. So just follow us, the Ben and Guac show.
Facts. Like, share, comment, and like we always say, keep it coming.
Keep it coming.
Facts. We'll see y'all. Stay tuned.